Sit back and throw one back with your pinky in the air and a middle finger to the world. And join me, the eclectic gentleman Stephen Watts, as I look back on this day in pro wrestling history. But before we do, put that drink down, like, share, and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get our wrestling nerd on. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is April 8th, and we are going to start off as we always do on a positive note. That's right, these are your pro wrestling birthdays. We're going to start off with two luchador birthdays. First, 1970, Silver Cat. Second luchador birthday, 1985, Guerrero Maya Jr. And last but not least, don't call him soft, 1986, Big Cass. Of course, on the flip side of that coin, your pro wrestling deaths for April 8th. 2011, Chip Fairway. 2014, The Ultimate Warrior. 2017, the luchador known as Fishman. Alright, enough of the sad stuff. It's time to get to the meat and potatoes. That's right, these are your pro wrestling history highlights for April 8th. Jumping in the Wayback Machine and going all the way to 1908, Americus Gus Shalin defeats Fred Bell for the American middleweight title in Baltimore, Maryland. Making a gigantic leap over 4 decades, 1946, the Swedish Angel defeats Everett Marshall to win the Rocky Mountain heavyweight title in Denver, Colorado. Moving into the 50s, 1957, Rito Romero defeats Danny McShane to win the NWA Texas Junior Heavyweight title in Fort Worth, Texas, to begin his second reign. Grooving into the 60s, 1964, Neff Maivia defeats Hard-Boiled Haggerty to win the NWA Hawaiian Heavyweight title in Honolulu, Hawaii, beginning his 4th reign. 1966, Al Costello defeats Alex Perez to win the NWA Southern Junior Heavyweight title in Nashville, Tennessee, ending Perez's 3rd reign. 1967, Pepper Gomez and Pedro Morales defeat Pat Patterson and Ray Stevens for the American Wrestling Alliance World Tag Team titles in San Francisco, California, ending Patterson and Stevens' 2nd reign. Grabbing our best polyester suits and going to the 70s, 1971, Bobby Duncum and Woody Farmer defeat the Beast and Bulldog Brower to win the NWA Western States Tag Team titles in Amarillo, Texas. 1972, Buddy Colt defeats El Mongol for the NWA Georgia Heavyweight title in Griffin, Georgia. This began Colt's 4th reign and ended Mongol's 8th. Moving to 1976, the mighty Canadian Gene Knitsky defeats the Super Destroyer to win the Amarillo NWA International Heavyweight title in Amarillo, Texas, ending Destroyer's 2nd reign. 1978, Ox Baker defeats Carlos Colon to win the WWC Puerto Rico Heavyweight title in Caguas, Puerto Rico. At the same event, Invader One wins his 2nd WWC Caribbean Heavyweight title from Pierre Martel. Last stop in the 70s, 1979, Greg Valentine defeats Dino Bravo for the Toronto NWA Canadian Heavyweight title in Toronto, Ontario. Grabbing our Walkmans and going to 1981, Dory Funk Jr. wins his 2nd NWA Florida Heavyweight title in Tampa, Florida from Barry Windham. 1982, Mark Romero defeats Gene Lewis for the NWA Central States Television title in Kansas City, Kansas, ending Lewis's 2nd reign. 1986 sees Jerry Lawler defeat Bill Dundee to win the AWA Southern Heavyweight title in Memphis, Tennessee. This ends Dundee's 9th reign and began Lawler's 37th reign of 5,675. 1988, John Tatum and Jack Victory defeat Shawn and Steve Simpson for the World Class Tag Team titles in Fort Worth, Texas, beginning their 3rd reign. 1989, Chris Benoit and Biff Wellington defeat Mike Shaw and Gary Albright to win the Stampede International Tag Team titles. Grabbing our flannels and going to the 90s, Larry Zbyszko defeats Mr. Saito in St. Paul, Minnesota to win the AWA World Heavyweight title for a 2nd time. 1991, the Lightning Kid, aka Sean Waltman, wins his 2nd Pro Wrestling American Light Heavyweight title in Friedel, Minnesota ending Jerry Lynn's second reign. 1995, Eddie Guerrero defeats Too Cold Scorpio in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania for the ECW World Television title, ending Scorpio's second reign. 1995, at an Omega show, Shannon Moore makes his pro wrestling debut against Jeff Hardy in a losing effort. And last but not least, at an event that I was at in 1999, Headbanger Mosh defeats Romeo Valentino for the Maryland Championship Wrestling Heavyweight title in Maryland. Those were your pro wrestling history highlights for April 8th. I'm the Eclectic Gentleman, Stephen Watts, and we'll see you tomorrow.